Sir, this is a Wendy's.
This is my Schecter Reaper 7, and today I'm gonna gas this thing up like it just bought me an election, because it's genuinely a great guitar, and I've used it a lot more than many of the other guitars that I've owned for a lot longer. However, there is one big flaw with this guitar that we do need to talk about, because for the life of me, I cannot understand why Schecter decided to do this. But this isn't gonna be like one of my Gibson videos where I love the guitars but call out the brand for their manic anti-consumer evil billion-dollar corporation clownery. No, if anything, my love for Schecter has only grown as the years have gone on. And they are one of the few brands that could turn me into a shameless drooling cuck shill. Who am I kidding? In today's economy, I could be bought out easier than the Supreme Court. And we all know how easy that is. But even when you love someone, sometimes you gotta confront them and ask them why Pizza Hut keeps calling them at 2 in the morning. What is up, all you sexy 7-string loving salamanders? Den here. And real quick, I just want to thank you guys for all the recent love and support you've shown me on my recent guitar videos. I'm glad to hear you guys have been enjoying these, and it really means a lot. I haven't been sweet-talked like this since the Boy Scouts, and it genuinely gets my heart bricked up, so thank you guys. But anywhooser, this is my Schecter Reaper 7 Multiscale in Satin Skyburst. And in a blink of my ass, I've somehow already owned this guitar for over a year. Now there's something I've never told you guys about this guitar. I don't really know why I haven't talked about it, I guess just because it's still kind of fresh. You see, a couple of my recent videos have revolved around my vintage black EC1000, and I always talk about how that guitar was the last gift my grandma gave me before she died. But what I haven't told you is that story ended up repeating itself. You see, I also had a grandpa, and he was just the coolest fucking guy. He was a big old goofball. I'm pretty sure I get most of my humor from him. He's partly the reason why I even started playing guitar in the first place, but especially the last 10 years after my grandma died, him and I would always hang out, and we spent a lot of time together. He was just the best. And my grandpa bought me this guitar for Christmas of 2023. But unfortunately, about 2 months later, he too ended up passing away. But I mean, it took him a while. That guy was like 1 billion years old. I'm a little afraid that his genes might make me become the first person to live to be 200 years old. I'm actually kind of terrified of that, to be honest. But the point I'm trying to get to is, this guitar was the last gift my grandpa ever bought me. And I don't think I could ever let this guitar go now, which is fine by me because this thing rips. However, this guitar is probably gonna get the Ship of Theseus treatment as the years go on. This is my first multi-scale guitar I've ever owned, and I absolutely love it. I got used to it right away. Thanks to the 27-inch baritone scale length on the bass string side, I could theoretically downtune this thing to like drop F or drop F sharp with the right gauge strings. But I actually leave it in standard tuning or in drop A, and then I just use a transpose dial to downtune that low. And I do that for reasons I'll get into here in a bit. The 24 narrow extra jumbo frets feel great, as does the ultra thin C neck shape, which is of course made out of a laminated maple and walnut neck with carbon fiber reinforcement rods thrown in there. And of course we have this absolutely diabolical ebony fretboard with a 20-inch radius on top of that. I love this headstock shape, and the tuners work fine even though they look like little penis heads. I swear I'm gonna start a petition to make kidney button tuners illegal. I'm sick of how these little gremlins look. However, on the other side of the Ultra Access set neck heel joint, we have the body, comprised of a couple beautiful pieces of swamp ash and a poplar burl veneer. Now, I actually lied to you guys in the thumbnail. There is one more issue that I want to bring up about these guitars. Now, this is a smaller visual issue, and it doesn't affect every single Reaper. It's more so on a guitar-to-guitar basis. But Schecter, some of the tops on these Reapers suck. When these poplar burl tops are barely figured, they do not look good. I don't know, man. The ones available on Sweetwater right now are pretty underwhelming. The blue ones in particular look especially bad when they don't have good figuring. They look a lot less like Satin Skyburst and a lot more like moldy tortilla burst. At least thanks to the swamp ass bodies on these guitars, the backs of them are almost always gonna look pretty dang cool. During the the time I was looking for mine, most of the ones I saw had pretty underwhelming tops. This one easily had the most figuring from what I could barely make out in the photos. You see, this one was listed on Guitar Center used. I'm pretty sure all the Guitar Center employees around the country are having one giant contest to see who can take the worst photo of a guitar imaginable. They somehow put less effort into taking these pictures than Apple puts into making new iPhones. There's also that pesky little fact that there's a solid 50% chance that whatever you order from Guitar Center is going to arrive to your door in pieces. That is, if it arrives to your door at all. So it was quite the risk to order this from Guitar Center, but I took it. I am happy to say that this guitar did make it to me in one piece. And besides this little bald spot over here, I'm pretty dang happy with the figuring on this guitar. When it comes to the hardware on this guitar, the Hipshot Multiscale bridge works perfectly fine. I have no issues with it, but if I ever get the chance to, I am not gonna hesitate to put one of those Multiscale Evertune bridges into this guitar, because duh. Like, why wouldn't you do that? An extended range guitar without an Evertune is kind of like a declawed cat. It seems harmless, but it's actually very cruel. Now let's talk about the electronics in this jabroni. When it comes to the pots and the three-way switch, they do work, but they're almost as crunchy as T-Mobile's cell service. But I'm pretty sure that's just the wiring on this specific guitar. This does have a push-pull pot for a coil split or coil tap, whatever the fuck, which one. The one real problem I have with the Schecter Reaper 7 Multiscale is the Diamond Decimator pickups. And it's for a few reasons. When it comes to the sound, I think they sound perfectly fine, so long as you don't tune lower than A standard, using a transpose dial. But if you physically tune the guitar lower than drop A, put heavier gauge strings on it, or go lower than A standard using a transpose dial, it starts to get muddy. And I mean like Daytona Supercross muddy. You lose a lot of clarity pretty quickly the lower you go, and eventually it just starts to sound the same way that Overnight Oats look. Which is a bit of an issue considering a lot of 7-string players tune down way lower than A standard, especially if they have an extended range or multi-scale guitar. Spiritbox is my favorite modern band, and if you couldn't tell by the playing clips, I love playing their riffs. But Mike Stringer primarily plays in drop F sharp, and while it is possible to play their stuff on this guitar, it sounds a lot muddier than I would like. So why don't I just swap out the pickups, you ask? Well, that finally brings me to the actual big issue with this guitar. You see, they used custom dimensions for the pickups on the Schecter Reaper 7 Multiscale. Why did they do that? I don't know. Maybe they were possessed. Maybe the designers were held at gunpoint and forced to nerf this guitar so it wouldn't be too overpowered. Maybe someone just wanted to watch the world burn. Who knows? But regardless, regular 7-string pickups do not fit in this guitar. I had gotten a set of 7-string Fishman open core moderns to throw in this guitar, and they were not even close to fitting into this thing. And I'm not gonna route out these corners so that soap bar pickups can fit in here because 1, soap bar pickups are fucking ugly, and 2, I shouldn't have to give this thing plastic surgery just so that other pickups can even fit into this guitar. That's stupid. Why Schecter decided to use proprietary pickup dimensions in this guitar is beyond me, but I'm not the only person to be turned off by this. Other people have specifically pointed out the pickups and their inability to swap them out with other pickups as their reason for selling their Reaper 7. There are many great things about this guitar, but the pickup kerfuffle really is this thing's Achilles cock. There are some people that have managed to fit 8-string pickups into their Reaper, but there aren't very many 8-string pickups that aren't soap bars, so your options are very limited, and there's not even any real guarantee that they're gonna fit into this cavity. And if the 8-string set doesn't have blade magnets, it's gonna look kind of weird, because then you're gonna have 8 pole pieces for 7 strings. Like, most people might not notice that, but some are going to, and I don't know, that sounds like a conversation I just don't want to have. Now, luckily, there is some hope. The Giga Chads over at Bare Knuckle did just release Mike Stringer's signature Halcyon pickups, and they have shown interest in making versions of the Halcyons that specifically fit in the Reaper 7. So I am going to reach out to them and do everything in my power to help them make that happen. Because honestly, once I saw that my favorite 7-string player was getting his own signature pickups, that's really the only set I want to put in this guitar now. And one last thing that isn't very cash money about these pickups is that mine don't seem to want to stay in place. The bridge pickup specifically does this weird thing to where eventually the screws start unthreading and the pickup height just keeps rising until it's hitting the strings. That's happened multiple times while I played this guitar, and I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's more annoying than anything, but like, why is that happening? I think I really just need to throw some Teflon tape in there so the screws can't move as easily. But regardless of all that stuff, after owning this guitar for a little over a year, I still really like it. I just gotta swap out these pickups. It's just that unfortunately, for whatever reason, the way Schecter designed this guitar makes it much harder to swap out these pickups than it really needs to be. And I can't say that is the coolest thing on planet Earth. Like, don't get me wrong, I still love Schecter, but like, why did they do that to this guitar? But anywhooser, what do you guys think of the Reaper 7? Do you have one? Does yours have a nice top? Do you like the stock pickups? Have you found an aftermarket set of pickups that actually fit into this guitar? Do you also have any of these little issues with yours? Definitely let me know in the comments, because there's not a ton of discussion going around about this guitar online. So I don't know how many people have actually successfully swapped out the pickups on this guitar. So please let me know your guys' thoughts and experiences in the comments if you have owned or currently do own a Schecter Reaper 7 Multiscale. Overall, I still think this is a fantastic guitar, and I am still very happy with mine for the most part. But man, that pickup situation really does hold this thing back. And like, that is a decent sized issue. But other than that, I'm not lying. I really do love this guitar. But that is gonna wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, as always, let me know. Help the engagement on this video. Help me compete with all the bigger guitar channels out there by leaving a like, leave a comment, give me your thoughts and opinions, especially if you own a Schecter Reaper 7 Multiscale. I definitely wanna know what you guys think. Share the video around, and if you regularly watch this channel and you haven't already subscribed, then your pickups are always gonna sound like a weak little fart in the wind. Before we go, I wanna give a big shout out and a thank you to Cosmic Steez, A Horse Running, Jet, Solar Flare, Suna Verma, Rob Heath, Badjo Gaming, Brandon's Battlesong Corner, Bandage Knives, Jan Chocolate, Leaves Beneath, Frizz Flips, and Scott Toman. These are my current channel members, and they are the goodest. If you want to be as hung as these bitches, then join the channel membership. You get extra videos. A lot of them are guitar videos. If you don't want to do that, there's a super thanks button down there. It's like a little tip jar. Give me money. I'm done being a tool. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye.